welcome back to another episode of Fireside Chat with Grand Design RV. Jeff, really excited today because we have a very special guest today.
We do. In fact, I would not be here if it weren't for this guest. And I don't mean that in an existence standpoint. I just mean at Grand Design because Rob here. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. Rob's the one who actually brought me on board to Grand Design. Tom, did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Now, he didn't want to, let's be clear, but he did it, and so I owe him a debt of gratitude. Rob Groover is one of our general managers, and he's in the studio today. We're talking about some of the cool and exciting changes that have been happening on the fifth wheels, specifically Solitude, Influence, and Momentum.
A lot of changes.
So, Rob, how's it going?
It's going great. First and foremost, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for making the time. I know it's you're a busy man. You just got back from a big conference out in Las Vegas and all about RVs. How was that? How was the mood out there?
It was good. You know, we're held in very high regard with our dealers, that being Grand Design. The sentiment was very, very high. It's just a great place to hang out for a few days and kind of reconnect with dealers all at one venue. And had some great dinners and great conversations. It's always great catching up with everybody out there.
No, I know. I mean, out there with the dealers, we were back here doing some training with some other dealers and salespeople from the dealerships, and some of the things, and this kind of segues right into what we wanted to talk about today. Some of the changes on these bigger fifth wheel lines are really exceptional, like real game changers, I think, for our industry. And Tom has the benefit of being able to take pictures of all this stuff, producing multimedia for it. I have the benefit of training on it, but really, you're there at the beginning of all these things as general manager and kind of at the grassroots of some of these changes. So the first thing I think that is right now blowing everybody away, both from a dealer standpoint and we see it online as well, is this new roof. Can you tell us a little bit about the roof and what products that is on right now?
Yeah, absolutely. This is this has been a project that's been going on for well over a year now. It's something. It's basically a one-piece seamless composite roof, and it's something that you haven't, historically speaking, haven't really seen in the towable world. You know, when you get into these big diesel pushers or buses, and that costs hundreds, if not millions, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, you'll see it as it's pretty standard.
Yeah.
You typically just don't see it in fifth wheels. So it's kind of a labor of love that we started, like I said, a little over a year ago. It's on. It's currently standard on our Influence, Solitude fifth wheel. It's a little bit different than some others out there. It's a true composite, like I was saying before. It's a one-piece substrate underneath, so it is truly seamless. The material itself is we collaborated with a company, just about 45 minutes north of us, called Techmoto. And again, it's something else exclusive to Grand Design. It's got a lifetime warranty on the materials used. Something nobody's really doing out there. One of the, biggest advantages of it, the obvious, are the one piece, composite, not a traditional rubber EPDM, roof where you catch a tree branch, it's virtually unrepairable. In replacing a one-piece rubber roof, can be upwards of $10,000, on the dealer level aftermarket. So that's an obvious advantage, but probably one of the most innovative parts of it. And we kind of borrowed this technology a little bit from our brothers in our newer motorhome division. Is there's no self-level on the roofs of our units. So anywhere there's a cutout, whether that's for an air conditioner, a skylight, a vent, we use automotive gaskets.
Yeah, so all that lap sealant that used to be around everything on the roof is no longer there. You look at it; it's completely clean. It's really something. There's some videos of it online, and I'll tell you, you can come take a factory tour. We took several people through the Solitude plant last week, and you look at it, you get it really nice and close to it. It's smooth. There's no wrinkles at all, right? Because it's a hard piece, right? It's a fiberglass, substrate roof with that, and that's the real difference too. That composite underneath, it's like it replaces the wood decking in a traditional roof. So it's unlike anything else out there right now, and it's just the idea of that extremely low maintenance. So that's, the top of the roof itself, and there's also, we kind of been like a top to bottom change this year, because one of the things that's really making waves out there is this new suspension system. This, MORride. We've offered MORride independent suspension in the past as an option, but it's always kind of been cost prohibitive. I mean, it's an expensive thing, right? So much so that dealerships, when they bring them in, don't really want to put that on there just in case the customer doesn't need it. But Rob, now it's standard. How did we pull that one off?
Yeah, great question. You're exactly right. We've offered it on our Solitude and Momentum fifth wheels for a couple of years now. Moride's a great partner of ours, and anytime we would go over there to their showroom or just to have a meeting, you would look in their aftermarket, shop, what have you, and you'd see Solitude, Momentum, Solitude. A lot of customers were going there aftermarket and getting the independent suspension installed on their fifth wheels. So we decided then and there to make it an option from the factory. It's about 10 to, if it's a double axle, it's around 10,000. If it's a triple axle, it's around 13,000. So very cost prohibitive, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
But still something that a lot of customers wanted. So we went to Moride and just asked a question, what would it look like if we went to it as standard on Influence and Solitude, Momentum, fifth wheel?
Right.
They're used to kind of doing one-offs here and there.
Yeah.
Obviously, we built a lot of units throughout a year's time. So we were able to come together and collaborate, and we were able to make it happen.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people didn't think that was even possible. Because what was our option rate for when it was an option? You'd have maybe one or two a week, right?
It'd be in a very low single digits.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden we're building everything with that, all the Solitudes, all the Influences, and all the Momentums too. Except G Class, right? All the big Momentums have that.
That is correct.
And so, that's quite a jump, and then they were able to do that for us.
They were, and we obviously we wouldn't have gone down this path if we didn't think it was going to be a big deal. But it's gone over even better than we could have ever imagined. It is a true independent suspension. There's other versions out there that kind of claim to be a pseudo independent, so on and so forth, and they're better. I mean, they're better than your traditional leaf spring, no question about it.
Yeah.
But the Moride system is kind of the cream of the cream.
Yeah. It's funny because Tom sent me a video. Tom's been cooking up some stuff. You want to tell this story about the airport?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we took this up. I got to see it firsthand in action, and we went to a local airport and used one of the runways, a small airport, and they did some testing, brake testing, and so I had a GoPro hooked underneath the unit to get some shots, and I shared it with Jeff to use some of that. So I have footage of it actually in action working. So it was pretty cool to see from my standpoint too.
Well, it's crazy because the system, it operates like Rob mentioned. It's truly independent, and what that means is, traditionally you have an axle. An axle links the two tires together. You put leaf springs on there to dampen it. You put an equalizer or something in between those to kind of absorb some of that shock. But this works on a completely different. It has what's called a shear spring in there, and it's rubber. And you can look at this video he made, and I'm sure it'll be out there in the public domain sooner or later. But you can see that when you're going down the road, the airport thing was a brake test. You can see how fast, because these come with disc brakes now, right? Everything's disc brake, which is really cool. And then the other side of this is going down the road, you're hitting bumps and potholes. And I'm telling you, that frame, and from the frame upwards of the fifth wheel, the body it doesn't move at all. It's just the wheels. And you can really tell the difference between that and some of these other ways of putting suspensions on, including the pseudo independent. The rule of thumb is if it's got an axle, it's not independent suspension, right?
It's a great way of looking at it. That's correct. Yeah.
So these are really big upgrades. I mean, you talk about, the fifth wheels that in the past, you would have had to, well, number one, no one was really offering that kind of roof we talked about. But the independent suspension, you're paying $10,000, $15,000, maybe even waiting up to a year for Moride to put that on. And, now it's standard. And so I kind of have to ask, me and Tom were talking about this beforehand, what is on the horizon here? Because I know I've known you long enough to know you've got some tricks up your sleeve as far as product stuff. It's like you kind of live and breathe this stuff. So what are we looking at now?
Great question. And we always try to, we're trying to always go, forward thinking, let's say. And the whole premise behind all the things we've done, another thing we didn't talk about a year and a half ago, we underwent a whole new plumbing initiative.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound fun. It doesn't sound exciting. It doesn't sound sexy or what have you. But at the end of the day, we're trying to create a worry-free experience for our customer. So we went through, we eliminated flex hose wherever possible. We went to brass fittings throughout. really bumped up our plumbing initiative. So we continue to listen to our customers. We do have some things in our back pocket. Not that I can talk about quite yet. Don't want to ruin the surprise. But if you would have asked me a year ago, would we have a composite roof and disc brakes and more eye as a standard, I would have looked at you and called you crazy. There's just no way. So we definitely have things cooking. You'll see those things sooner than later.
Well, and just to clarify, so I guess we should have started this way, but as general manager, kind of describing, because you're over the Solitude, the Influence, the Momentum, and the MAV divisions, right? What all does that entail? Like, what is your day to day? What's the overarching? Because I know you're into the product stuff, but what beyond that?
Great question, but a very hard one to answer.
Yeah,
and frankly, it's one of the things I love about grain design is we all wear a lot of hats, and at the end of the day, there's no silos. If you told me to sit down for 10 minutes and write out my job description, I'd struggle with it because every day is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But again, that's what makes our company so special is you just jump in wherever you're needed, whether it's product development, whether it's marketing, whether it's going to retail facing shows or dealer facing shows, whatever that may look like. It's every day is just a new day. We all kind of pull in the same direction and just get the job done.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, if we can, because Tom and I last year, kind of one of the crowning achievements of this podcast, and it's in its short time, is we had Don on, and at that time, Don was talking about, he was addressing some of the concerns out there with frames and all that. It's been about a year, a little bit longer than that now. And if it's okay with you, can we go into that a little bit? Because, that's kind of your wheelhouse, right? You've been working with things like this and improvements and things like that. Can we talk about the fifth wheel frames a little bit?
Of course.
All right. So, there's coming out, and I don't know, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be public sooner than later. You might have heard it here, folks, for the first time. Maybe not. I don't know. It depends on when this is published. But there has been continuous improvement to the frames. Don told us that, and I'm sure that's continued. Now we're hearing about a new frame, I guess you could call like kind of the next version of our fifth wheel frames, called Omega. Are you familiar with Omega?
I am.
Okay. Gotcha. What is Omega?
Omega is a accumulation of several years of development at the end of the day. Now we tied it up with one pretty bow, and we're kind of marketing as our Omega chassis right now. So we collaborated with our chassis supplier, Lipper Components. There's been improvements from additional gussets to additional side plates around your goose box for aftermarket approved aftermarket pin boxes. There's been more cross members added. There's been a heavier gauge of steel used in critical areas. Not that what we were building before, again, like we said earlier, not that we were building before was bad, but again, our whole kind of mantra over the last, call it 18 months, 2 years, even some of these frame enhancements started over 2 years ago, is just continuous improvement. How can we be better? Again, if you look at a fifth wheel chassis, how it was built 15 years ago, it's different than it was built 10 years ago, different than it was built a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So we just continue to get better and better, and I'm sure we'll continue down the same path. But yeah, we're building what we believe to be the strongest chassis in the industry today. That's in the marketplace as we speak. That coupled with all the other enhancements that we made, I truly believe we're building the best coach we've ever built since our inception into the business.
Well, Don had mentioned that there had been even back, a year ago, a little over a year ago when he talked to us, he was saying that, these changes are not, they don't all happen on, January 1st, for example. They're continuous improvement. And that's not just us, but also our frame supplier as well. And now there's been some change. Like he was talking about the 5-year frame warranty, which was already out. And now we have this Omega. What are some things, maybe since the frame warranty? You had mentioned approval for or being changed for approval of aftermarket hitches. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I know a lot of people are wanting to put certain brands of hitches on our units that aren't necessarily from the factory, but they believe in them and they want to add them. In the past, it's been kind of restricted.
Sure. No, great question. And again, our industry, not just grain design, our industry continues to change. And there's new technologies that are coming out. It feels like every single day that, on the aftermarket level, you kind of have to adapt to as a manufacturer. So we've worked very closely with Lipper Components, the manufacturer of our chassis, as well as top tier or tier one automotive engineers on the aftermarket level to kind of collaborate. And what do we need to do to accommodate some of these aftermarket pin boxes? What kind of testing do we need to do to be darn sure that we're good to go there? So we've done independent testing, and there's a company about an hour and a half north of here, and we take our units up there and basically give it to their guys. We don't do the testing; we give it to their guys, and say, beat the heck out of this thing. Let's see if there are any weak points, and if there are, where are they? What does that look like? We overload our coaches to make sure that we're good to go. So as the industry changes, we try our best to change along with it, and build our product to accommodate what a lot of customers want to do, whether it comes from grain design or not.
Well, this is cool. Tom, what are your thoughts, buddy?
These are all great innovations that we're talking about. So, Rob, how do all these innovations kind of wrapped up together change the experience of owning a fifth wheel for consumers?
Great question, Tom. And I think it kind of goes back to something I said earlier. Again, our drive is to make this most of a worry-free experience as we can.
Right.
Will we ever build the perfect coach? Probably not. Will anybody ever build the perfect coach? Probably not, but we're sure trying hard. And again, we're listening to customers and we're listening to what their pain points are, whether that's dealing with resealing a roof, whether that's whatever it may be, whether that's suspension and beating the heck out of your coach, and you pull over to your campsite and there's dishes on the floor because the ride-in was so rough.
Yeah.
We just continue to listen and continue to improve and continue to innovate and just try to get better every single day.
So let me switch gears. kind of wrap all this up together, because a lot of this stuff kind of culminates in this, and because this has been something that has been, you see it everywhere. If you're on our forums or Facebook or anything like that, YouTube, that sort of thing, there has been a lot of excitement around this new Solitude floor plan, the 414 LJMJ. Rob, is it true? Some people are saying this is the greatest floor plan of all time, the GOAT, if you will. Is it true that LJMJ stands for LeBron James, Michael Jordan?
That is insanely false.
That's not true. Okay, it is not true. For the record, could you please tell us what LJMJ stands for, if not LeBron James, Michael Jordan?
Caught me off guard there. LJMJ stands for Less Junk, More Journey.
That makes way more sense, but I had to make sure. Tell us about them in this floor plan. How did this happen? How did this start?
Yeah, we met, their names are Nathan and Marissa, and we met them several years ago. They actually owned a 378 Solitude at the time, and they went into the full-time lifestyle. Their Less Junk, More Journey is their handle, obviously. And they came to us, they were, ready for a new unit, ready for a new floor plan that kind of fit them and their family's needs a little bit more. And they dreamed up this kind of Frankenstein floor plan. And we're looking at it, we're going, man, I don't know. Not that it wasn't super cool, because it was, but there was a lot going on with it. It has a side patio. It's got this amazing outdoor kitchen. It has, one of Marissa's number one goals was to have a true residential bathtub in the unit, and we didn't build anything like this, but we said, you know what, they've been, great ambassadors to us, and they've become personal friends, frankly. And you know what, let's give this a whirl. So we actually built the first one. We thought we would build one. We ended up building a second one because, the first one was obviously a prototype. We ended up building two and delivered it to them. They absolutely loved it. And obviously they showcased it on their channel, and holy cow, the feedback we got from the just the general population was overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it was about a year later, and people just kept asking about this floor plan. And so, we kind of got our product development teams together, and our vendors and everybody else, and them, of course, Nathan and Marissa. And we said, you know what, let's take this thing to the Hershey show and see if there's something there. Everybody can say, I want this. It's super cool, but is it going to sell? And it ended up being our number one selling model at the Hershey RV show, which is one of the biggest retail shows in the country, as most people know. So we said, well, it's obviously resonating, so let's build it. So as we speak, it's just now going into production. And we're super excited about it. Different than anything else that we've ever done.
It is very different. It's funny. Speaking of Hershey, I believe we broke our own personal record as far as Solitude influence this year, right? Most ever, and this was certainly a big reason for that. And both talking to people at Hershey as well as people that come into our factory here, both dealers and retail customers. There is nothing else like this out there. There's been elements. I mean, there's been, side patios out there before. There's been a bathtub or two. Someone's tried it, and it usually doesn't work out for them. And but all of these things together, and especially in today's climate, where people are looking for, they want the space. They, especially full timers, right? They got, you could live in the back half of this RV. You can be completely self sustaining in the back half of this RV, and that's it was kind of devised for their kids, right? This bunkhouse, it's got a dinette back there. It's got a bunk that goes up and down. It has, Tom, and I know you know this.
I know.
It has a toilet with the buttons on the wall. You don't even have to press the foot pedal anymore.
Right.
You just press the button on the wall. It's extremely nice. Full bathroom back there. And then you still have the pull-out tray, the side patio, L-shaped sofa. It's the coolest floor plan ever. In fact, I heard the other day, Rob, you were in Vegas when this happened, but I heard Ken Conley, who is our Reflection product manager, he said it was his favorite floor plan that we make right now. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that says a lot.
It does. I also had heard, Rob, you can confirm this. I heard that Logan McBride, who is our Solitude Influence product manager, that very first bathtub, because we didn't have any bathtubs, he bought it from like Lowe's with his credit card and brought it to the factory. Is that a true statement?
That is a true statement.
So we're just basically going to the store and building things now.
That's dedication.
That is dedication.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool. Guys, if you haven't seen it, it's because they're just not out there yet. But they are, as Rob mentioned, they are being built now, and they're going to be all over the country. There's, goodness gracious, so many people waiting for one who have special ordered, and then there's going to be, hopefully out there for the show circuit in Q1 of 26, there's going to be ones out there that you can see. But of course, the most surefire way, of course, you can find them on our website, or you could come to Middlebury, Indiana. It's beautiful this time of year, and you can come to the Solitude Factory and take a tour and hopefully see one there. But looks like, Rob, thanks for stopping in, man. This is good stuff. This is good stuff, and I'm excited about all the things that are happening. If you guys out there have any questions about the things that are going on, a couple ways to do it. Go to our website, granddesignrv.com. Got information up there about all this new stuff, and then you can always contact us directly at insidesales@granddesignrv.com. So, Rob, thank you so much. Tom, any parting words for Rob here?
No, just wonderful. Like I said, I get to see a lot of these things firsthand inside, and your guys are, knocking it out of the park. So great innovations.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And more to come. And thanks for having me.
See you later.
Till next time.